Hey barbecue fans, JB here with Barton Barbecue Smokeworks, and today we are going to be cooking up some beautiful Smithfield spare ribs. We're going to be cooking them on our Louisiana Grill Black Label 1200. Today we're throwing the 3-2-1 method out the window. I'm going to show you how to cook these ribs in under 4 hours. We're aiming for 3.5–4 hours. So we're also going to be using a technique, rather than wrapping them totally in foil, we're going to use a foil boat, so that we continue to get some color and a little bit of crunch on the outside. So stay tuned. So I'm excited to see. I'm going to show you guys that hot and fast ribs are just as good. You don't need to spend 6 hours waiting on ribs to be ready. We're going to show you how to cook them in 4. So let's get to it. I'll meet you at the cutting board and we'll get these bad boys spiced up. First thing I like to do is come back to the back side and this little flap that's on here and trim that off. Don't mind the excess fat. I think we might go ahead and leave the breastplate on these today. I usually cut them off across here to make them St. Louis style, but what the heck, let's go ahead and do a full rack today. I'm going to go ahead and yank the membrane so we can get some seasoning behind the meat. So I like to use mustard as a binder on my ribs. You can use oil, you can use Worcestershire, you can use whatever you want to use. It just helps keep the spices on the meat, let you get a little build up, especially when you're putting multiple layers of spice on. So we're going to start with a base layer of Crawford's Alamo dust. This is a great rib seasoning. It's got a good salt, a good little bit of sweet on it. It's got some paprika in there, so it gives you a good red color. I really like it on pork. And then our second layer is going to be Big C's rib rub. This stuff's great too. It's got a little more pepper, not real salty, so you don't have to worry about over salting. And it's a great pork rub as well. And for all you mustard haters out there, the mustard will cook off. You won't taste it. So it's just something to help the seasoning bind too. This has got some great marbling in it. I'm excited about these. And these ribs will have a gorgeous color because both of these have a good amount of paprika in them to color these things nice and mahogany after it gets hit with that smoke. Alright, we're going to do something a little bit different on the top. So after I've got my seasoning on there, I'm going to give this a little butter spritz with some, I can't believe it's not butter, you can use Parquet, you can use whatever you'd like, you can use just oil. Give it a little butter spritz, and then I'm going to give it an additional layer of black pepper. I like black pepper on my ribs, a little bit heavier than normal, but I also like the way it looks once it's cooked. And you can see those black pepper flakes coming through. So I think it's, against the red meat, it's gorgeous. So we're just going to give it a little bit of extra pepper. And that butter gives it something, the pepper, something to stick to. Alright, little top coat. Alright, we're going to give these about 10 or 15 minutes to set and let the seasoning start soaking down into the meat. Let this start sweating. Our pit is already going and up to temp to 290. I want to cook close to 300 a day on these, just so that we can go through and do a hot and fast rib. I'll see you at the pit. All right, these have got a great sweat on them, so we're going to get them put on the grill. Also, remember to straighten your ribs up when you put them on the grill. They're going to cook like that, and if you've got them all bent and twisted, that's how they're going to stay. So if you get them on the grill nice and straight, straighten your edges up, they'll come off as a pretty rack. Sometimes they pull a little bit to one side, but for the most part, they'll look good. So we're an hour and 15 minutes into the rib cook, and at this point, I like to give the ribs a butter spritz. After this spritz, in about another hour or 30 minutes, I'll check them again, and that's when I'll use my water, apple cider vinegar, Worcestershire sauce mixture to give them a spritz. You can just use water, you can just use apple juice, whatever you prefer, just to kind of help keep them moist. But I found that at the hour and 15 minute mark that the butter spritz really does some great stuff for just the sheen of the ribs themselves. So let's go check them out. All right, we're still hanging at 300. Hour and 15 minutes in. Those are looking nice. So you can see that additional coat of butter and black pepper, how that came out. That's looking really nice. So we're going to go through and give this a nice spritz with the butter. And that's going to help seal in those juices, plus give it a nice sheen without any type of glaze or anything. All right, we'll come back and check on these in about another 30 minutes or so and see how it's going. All right, so we're about an hour and 45 minutes into this rib cook, and at an hour and 15, we did the butter spritz, and it's been 30 minutes since then, so we're gonna check and see if we need to hit it with a little bit more moisture. Let's see what it looks like. Still cruising along at 300. Oh, baby. Looking good. I'm going to hit them with a little bit of moisture, not that they need it, but we'll check back in another 30 minutes. Alright, so we're 2.5 hours into our rib cook. The color is looking great. The meat's starting to pull back off the bones a little bit. We're ready to go ahead and put these in a foil boat. Now I'll show you here in a minute, but what we're going to do is we're going to boat these. We're going to put the ribs down, fold the foil up into kind of a boat so the juices will continue to collect on the bottom, and that will break the meat down on the bottom side while the top continues to darken and get a little bit of crunch. I like a little crunch on the top of my ribs, so check it out. So if you guys haven't checked out the MagnaChef gloves, check them out. You got to get a pair. These are great. Still have some good firmness in there. You can see the meat starting to pull back. The color is looking great. All right, we've got our ribs on the foil. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a little bit of this Crawford's Peach Spritz into the foil for a little added moisture and flavor. We're going to give these a nice spritz for a little additional moisture. And then we're going to make our boat. And I always go double layer foil because the first one always seems to rip. So we've got a boat made here out of foil. We've got the foil wrapped up tight to the edge of the ribs so the juice could still collect and continue to tenderize these from the bottom, but the top is going to continue to get dark and get a little bit of crunch to it, which is how I like them. So we're going to go back on the pit with these, and we'll give them a check in about 30 or 45 minutes, see how they're doing. All right, so we're at the 3 hour and 15 minute mark, and these are looking great. Let me show you what we're looking for on here. These things have a great color on them. So if you look close, you can see there's little bubbles coming from in the meat. So that's what this foil boat is helping with. Collect all the juices on the bottom, and you're still getting your ribs tenderized by that moisture in those juices. But look at the great color from leaving this foil open. You don't lose any of your rib bark. So I'm going to check these in a few different places. These are probe tender already. So I think it's time to pull these at the 3.5 hour mark. Let's get them plated up and check them out. So here we are with our 3.5 hour ribs. They came out great. They're juicy, they're tender. They should be bite off the bone. They've got a really nice glaze on top, even though we didn't put any glaze on there. Just natural stuff from the spices. So now is the telltale. Perfect. Good salt and pepper. Great flavor. Give this a try. You won't be disappointed with this recipe. We'll see you next time.